Let me ask you a question, brother. Have you ever told a woman something so personal, so deep that later you wished you kept it to yourself? Maybe you shared your darkest fear, your financial struggles, your insecurities, or even details about your past relationships. And in that moment, you thought, she'll understand me. She'll respect me for being honest. But here's the harsh truth. Most men don't realize that some things, when spoken, don't bring you closer to her. They push her away. They lower her respect for you. They make her see you as weak, even when that wasn't your intention. Now listen carefully. Women are emotional creatures, but they are also deeply wired to respond to strength, mystery, and confidence. The moment you open your mouth and reveal certain secrets, the way she looks at you will change forever, and not in your favor. That's why I want you to stick with me until the very end of this video, because today, I'll reveal the 5 secrets every man must never tell women, no matter how much you think she deserves to know. Trust me, brother, if you slip even once, it could destroy the attraction, the respect, and even the relationship you worked so hard to build. So before we dive in, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button like this video, and drop your thoughts in the comments below, because what you're about to learn isn't just dating advice. It's about protecting your heart, guarding your masculine frame, and making sure you never repeat the mistakes that millions of men make every single day. And remember this, one small mistake of oversharing could be the very reason your ex walked away, even if she never told you. All right, let's dive into the first secret. 1. Never tell a woman about your financial struggles. Money, let's be real. It's one of the biggest reasons men get exposed in front of women. Now, I'm not saying you need to be a millionaire or that you should fake being rich. But here's the mistake most men make. They sit a woman down, open their heart and say, I'm broke right now, but I'll figure it out. Please just be patient with me. Brother, the moment you tell her you're struggling financially, even if she smiles, even if she says, it's okay, I'm with you no matter what, something changes inside her. She might still love you, but her respect for you starts to fade. Why? Because women are wired to look for stability. It doesn't mean they're all gold diggers. It simply means security is deeply tied to their attraction. I know guys in London, Manchester, New York, men who worked day and night, gave expensive gifts, bought flowers, dinners, handbags, and yet when the money slowed down, their women left without even a goodbye. Why? Because they confused love with lifestyle. But here's the real problem. You don't even need to be broke for this to happen. Just talking too much about your financial struggles makes her feel insecure. She starts to imagine a future where she's the one struggling, where she's the one sacrificing, and slowly she distances herself. That's why the Stoic approach is simple. Never open up about your financial problems until you've already fixed them. Handle your challenges in silence. Move with discipline. Hustle behind the scenes. Then when she sees your results, you won't have to explain a single thing. Because here's the truth. Women respect men who solve problems, not men who talk about them. 2. Never tell a woman about your insecurities. Every man has insecurities. Maybe it's about your looks, your height, your past mistakes, or even your performance in certain areas. And sometimes when you're deeply in love, you think, if I tell her my flaws, she'll love me even more. She'll see I'm vulnerable and she'll appreciate my honesty. Wrong. That's the trap, brother. Women don't want a man who dumps his insecurities on her lap. They don't want to be your therapist. Yes, she might comfort you for a moment. She might hug you and say, it's okay, I don't care about those things. But deep down, she starts to see you differently. I've spoken to men from Birmingham to Los Angeles who said the same thing. The moment they confessed their insecurities, their women's behavior changed. Less attraction, less desire, less respect. Why? Because women are drawn to confidence. They want to feel protected, guided, inspired. When you start telling her about the parts of yourself you hate, you're showing her weakness instead of strength. Here's the reality. You don't need to be perfect, but you must own who you are. In Stoic philosophy, Marcus Aurelius said, waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. That means stop telling women about your insecurities and start working on them in silence. Think about it. Have you ever noticed that the men women obsess over are not the ones who complain about their flaws, but the ones who carry themselves with pride no matter what? That's the secret. So brother, the next time you feel the urge to open up about your insecurities, stop. Channel that energy into growth, into discipline, into self-respect. Because when you walk in confidence, the world and women will follow. 3. Never tell a woman about your past relationships in detail. Let me ask you something straight from the heart. How many times have you sat with a woman, maybe during a late-night conversation, and she asked you, "So, what happened with your ex? And what did you do?" You probably thought, if I tell her everything, the drama, the heartbreak, the pain, she'll understand me better. She'll see I've suffered, and she'll appreciate me for being open. But let me tell you the raw truth. Brother, the more details you give about your past relationships, the more you destroy the image she has of you right now. Women are curious by nature, yes. They'll ask about your exes. They'll ask why things ended. They'll even press you for details, pretending they want to know you better. But what they really want to see is how you handle the question, not the endless details of your past. The moment you start sharing too much, how you begged your ex to stay, how heartbroken you were when she left, how much money you spent on her, or how she betrayed you with another guy, you're making a huge mistake. Because even though she might comfort you in the moment, deep inside she starts thinking, if he was treated like that before, maybe I can treat him the same way too. Think about it. Imagine a man sitting across from a woman in a London cafe, telling her, "My ex used to cheat on me. She used to talk to other guys behind my back, and I tried so hard to keep her, but in the end, she left me for someone else." What does the woman hear? She doesn't hear your pain. She doesn't hear your lessons. What she really hears is, this man was desperate. This man was left. This man didn't have the strength to walk away first. And brother, once that thought enters her mind, her respect for you drops. Here's the truth. Women don't want to imagine you crying over another woman. They don't want to visualize you chasing an ex who didn't value you. They want to believe that you've always been in control of your emotions, that you were strong enough to walk away when respect was gone. This is why Stoic men, those grounded in strength and discipline, never reveal too much about their past relationships. They keep it short, clean, and controlled. If she asks, "What happened with your ex?" you simply say something like, "We weren't aligned in values, so I walked away." That chapter is closed. Notice how powerful that sounds. You're not hiding anything. You're just refusing to give her the emotional drama that lowers your value. An example of two men. The first man is Tom from New York. He meets a woman and she asks about his ex. Tom spends an hour talking about how badly he was treated, how much he gave, and how broken he was when she left. The woman listens, nods, but inside, she feels turned off. She sees him as weak. The second man is James from Manchester. Same question. But he smiles, leans back, and says, "We had good times, but in the end, we weren't on the same path. I moved on." That's it. Short, confident, no drama. The woman, she leans in closer. Because now, instead of seeing him as broken, she sees him as strong. She sees him as a man who values himself enough not to cling to the past. Now, brother, I know this might sting, because many of us have gone through painful breakups, sleepless nights, and heart-crushing betrayals. And part of us wants to share it with someone new, to let them know how much we've suffered. But you must understand, women are not your therapist. They don't want to carry your emotional baggage. And here's the deeper truth. The moment you start unloading your past, relationship drama, she starts comparing herself to your ex. She might think, does he still love her? Am I just a rebound? Will he compare me to her too? Suddenly she's insecure. And instead of building connection, you've planted doubt. That's why you must lock your past in silence. Learn from it, yes. Grow from it, absolutely. But never use your new woman as your emotional dumping ground. Because at the end of the day, women respect men who live in the present and move toward the future, not men who are still chained to the ghosts of their past. So the next time you're tempted to share details about your ex, stop, breathe, and remember, every word you speak can either build respect or destroy it. And when it comes to your past, silence is your greatest weapon. Never tell a woman about your weaknesses and self-control. Brother, let me hit you with a question that might sting a little. Have you ever sat across from a woman you love, and in a moment of deep connection, you told her something like, "I can't control my anger sometimes," or "I get really needy when I'm in love," or even, "I can't stop chasing after you when I miss you too much"? In that moment, it felt real. It felt honest. You thought she'd admire your vulnerability, but here's the raw, unfiltered truth. Once you tell a woman you can't control yourself, you've just told her you can't lead yourself. And if you can't lead yourself, how can you lead her? Women may not admit this out loud, but deep inside, they crave a man who is steady, someone who is unshaken when life throws chaos at him. A man who doesn't lose his center just because emotions get heavy. That's why self-control is one of the most attractive, most powerful qualities a man can have. Now let's be real. Every man struggles with self-control in some way. Some men drink too much when they're stressed. Others chase women endlessly, blowing up their phones when they don't reply. Some can't control their anger. They shout, break things, slam doors. And some men can't control their emotions in love. They cry, they beg, they plead. But here's the dangerous part. When you tell a woman about these weaknesses directly, you're handing her the blueprint to lose respect for you. Let me give you a real-world picture. Imagine a guy in London named Michael. He's dating a beautiful woman, and one night, he opens up. I've always struggled with anger. I punch walls sometimes, but I'm trying to be better. At first, she might nod. She might even say, I appreciate your honesty. But deep down, she's thinking, if this man can't control himself, how can he protect me? How can he protect our future? Respect gone. Now picture another guy, Alex from Chicago. His weakness is neediness. He tells his girlfriend, I can't live without you. If you ever left me, I'd be destroyed. She might hug him in that moment. She might even whisper, I'll never leave you. But over time, those words stick in her mind, and slowly she starts to see him not as her rock, but as her burden. Because if he can't survive without her, then she holds all the power, and that imbalance eventually kills attraction. Brother, here's the harsh lesson. A woman doesn't want to carry the weight of your lack of self-control. She doesn't want to feel like she's dating a child who needs managing. She wants to feel like she's standing beside a man who governs himself. And that's why Stoic philosophy is so powerful. The Stoics taught that a man's greatest strength is mastery over himself. Epictetus said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Think about that. True freedom, true masculinity comes from self-control. So when you reveal to a woman that you lack it, you're telling her you're not free. You're telling her you're ruled by your emotions, your habits, your impulses. And that, brother, is one of the fastest ways to lose her respect. But let me make something clear. I'm not saying you need to be a robot. I'm not saying you should pretend to have zero weaknesses. What I'm saying is, never hand your weaknesses to her in words. Work on them in silence. Build your discipline when no one is watching. If anger is your weakness, learn to breathe, to pause, to master it before it masters you. If neediness is your weakness, train yourself to stand strong in solitude, so that love becomes a choice, not an addiction. If lust is your weakness, don't brag about it, don't confess it. Discipline yourself quietly and let your actions speak. Because here's the truth. Women respect the man who doesn't need to tell her about his battles. She respects the man who shows her, through his calmness, his patience, his control, that he has already won them. Now let's tie this back to your love life. Many of you watching right now are heartbroken. You gave your ex everything. You texted her too much. You begged her not to leave. You lost control of yourself and she lost respect for you. And maybe today you're wondering why she walked away. Brother, it wasn't because you weren't good enough. It wasn't because you didn't love her enough. It was because you lost your self-control and with it, her trust in your strength. And that's why from this day forward, you must take an oath. Never again will you hand a woman your weaknesses in words. Never again will you tell her, I can't control myself. Instead, you'll silently build the discipline to master yourself, so she feels safe, secure, and inspired in your presence. Because at the end of the day, women don't stay loyal to words, they stay loyal to the man who embodies strength. And strength, brother, is born in silence, in self-control, and in the refusal to be ruled by impulse. 5. Never tell a woman how much you compare her to other women. Let me start with a question that might hit you hard. Have you ever looked at the woman you love and thought to yourself, she's beautiful, but my ex had a better smile? Or maybe, she's amazing, but that girl at work seems more fun. And then, in a moment of weakness, you actually told her something like, my ex used to do this for me, or other women would never act this way. See, brother, the fastest way to crush a woman's heart, to make her question her worth, and to break the respect she has for you, is to compare her to other women. It doesn't matter if you're comparing her to your ex, a random girl on Instagram, or some fantasy woman in your head. The moment she feels she's being measured against another woman, She doesn't just lose trust, she loses the emotional connection that holds her to you. Let's paint a story. There's a guy in Manchester named Daniel. He's been dating Emily for 6 months. Emily is kind, loving, and loyal. But one night, while joking around, Daniel says, "You know, my ex used to cook this dish better than you." He laughs it off. He thinks it's harmless. But for Emily, that single line digs deep. Suddenly, she's not just Emily anymore. She's competing with a ghost of Daniel's past. And that's the thing. Once a woman feels she's in competition with someone from your past, she no longer feels like your chosen queen. She feels like a placeholder. And women never stay long when they feel replaceable. Now let's be brutally honest here. Every man compares, even if silently. It's human nature. You've been with other women. You've seen different qualities. You've experienced different kinds of beauty, energy, or affection. But here's the golden rule: never voice it. Never let those words slip into your relationship. Because when you tell a woman that another woman was better in some way, you're not just comparing bodies or habits. You're telling her she's not enough. And nothing kills attraction faster than that. But it doesn't end there. Let's flip the coin. Sometimes men compare not to their exes, but to idealized women they don't even have. You might say, other girls wouldn't nag me like this, or other women would appreciate a man like me more. You think you're teaching her a lesson? You think she'll try harder, but in reality you're only planting seeds of insecurity and resentment. Women don't change for the man who criticizes them. They change for the man who inspires them. And the moment you start comparing, you stop inspiring. Now, brother, let me take you deeper into why this matters so much. Women by nature are emotional creatures. They feel more than they think. And when a woman loves you, she wants to feel like she is the center of your world, not your ex, not the girl in the gym, not some random face on social media, her. So when you compare her, even lightly, she feels abandoned emotionally. And that abandonment leads to distance, silence, arguments, and eventually breakups. This is why so many men lose the women they love without even realizing it. They don't cheat. They don't abuse. But they slip into careless words, little comparisons, and slowly chip away at the bond. Think back, brother. Maybe this happened to you. Maybe in your last relationship. You said something small, something you didn't even mean seriously. But to her it was a dagger. Maybe she didn't leave immediately, but in her heart, the damage was done. And eventually that damage stacked up until she walked away. Painful, isn't it? But here's the Stoic truth. What's done is done. The past cannot be changed. The only power you have is how you move forward. And moving forward means mastering your tongue. As Marcus Aurelius said, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this and you will find strength. The same goes for your words. You can't control how your woman feels, but you can control the words you give her. And once you learn to control that, you'll protect her love, her respect, and her loyalty. Now let's talk about the deeper lesson here. Why do men even compare in the first place? It often comes from insecurity. A man who feels he's not enough will try to remind a woman that he has options. He'll compare her to other women as a way to boost his ego. But brother, that's weakness. That's the behavior of a man who doesn't know his own value. A true man doesn't need to compare. He knows what he has, he cherishes it, and he builds it stronger. So let me give you a new mindset. Instead of comparing your woman to others, compare yourself to the man you were yesterday. Instead of saying, other women would treat me better, say, how can I be a better man today so she feels loved? Instead of reminding her of your ex, remind yourself of your growth. That you've chosen her because she fits your vision of life now, not your past. Because when a woman feels chosen, when she feels like she is the one you elevate, not compare, her loyalty deepens, her attraction grows, and her respect for you never fades. So the bottom line is this: never tell a woman how much you compare her to others. Not your ex, not your crush, not any woman alive. Keep those thoughts locked in your own head, and instead show her why she is your chosen queen. At the end of the day, love isn't about comparison. It's about commitment. And commitment means you focus on what you have, not what you had. Conclusion. Brother, if you've stayed with me till now, it means this message hit your heart. Maybe you've been betrayed. Maybe you've been replaced. Maybe you felt that pain of giving everything to a woman only to watch her walk away. But listen carefully, you didn't lose her. You lost the version of yourself who was weak. And now it's time to rise as a stronger man. If this video spoke to your soul, hit that subscribe button right now. Not for me, for yourself. Because every lesson here is about protecting your heart, your strength, and your future. And I want you to drop your story in the comments. Tell me the moment you realized she no longer saw you the same, because your story might save another man's life. Guard your secrets. Guard your peace. Guard your power. That's the path of a true man. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time,